Hi everybody, I'm Chuck, the streaming guy from Zona Wyyerds, and we're here today to talk about streaming TV as a way of replacing your cable or satellite. Cutting the cord, as they say. And if you're already using a service like Netflix or maybe Amazon Prime, then you've already started streaming, so this shouldn't be too scary for you. The only difference between those services and those that we're going to talk about today are these are live streaming services, so you would get your live channels through these and be able to record and do things like that. So let's get into it here. Streaming 101, cutting the cord. And before we start, I always like to mention that Zona Wyyerds, we are an internet service provider. Yes, we also provide home phone service, but primarily we're your internet provider. We're not a TV provider. The TV services that you get, the ones that we're going to talk about today, you get those from a different company and just use your internet connection to access that programming. We have no affiliation with any of the brands that we're going to discuss here today. So if you hear us talking about things like YouTube TV or Roku, we don't have any affiliation with them. We don't make any commission from them, but we think they're great products, and we do want to tell you about those as we go along. What is streaming? Well, here we have our internet router, and it's connected to a streaming media player, and that's where it all happens. You've got your apps on there that will bring in your various streaming services. Now, if you have a smart TV, you can kind of bypass the streaming media player if you wish, but a streaming media player really goes good with any TV, and we'll talk about that more specifically as we go along. 3 things you need for live streaming. First of all, you need a good high-speed internet connection, and if you have service through Zona Wyyerds, you've got that fiber to the home network, and you've got a great connection. You also got to have a good Wi-Fi connection within the home. That's very important as well. You need a streaming device such as Roku or Apple TV is another good one, or like I mentioned, a smart TV can eliminate the middleman there with the Roku and the Apple TV. And you also need a live streaming service like one of the following. YouTube TV, that's probably the one that we talk about the most. There's also Hulu with live TV. Fubo is another, and Philo is yet another, which is a little different than the rest. That's sort of a low-cost streaming option, which we'll talk about more as we continue. How is streaming different than using cable or satellite? Well, streaming services are delivered through your internet connection instead of through a satellite feed. You don't have to have a big ugly satellite dish on your house anymore. There's no need to be connected up to the cable company with their coax cable. It's all happening through your internet connection. How is streaming different than using cable or satellite? Well, with streaming, you use your own equipment. So you would have your own smart TV or maybe a Roku player like we have here, perhaps the Apple TV player, but no satellite dish, no coax cable connection to the cable company. Another way that streaming is different than using cable or satellite is that streaming can be much less expensive than the cost of cable or satellite. We talk to a lot of people who say, I'm spending just for my satellite service more than $100 or $150, and that's crazy. These services typically, the base package will start you out at about $50 or $55, so we'll talk a little bit more about that here. Another way that it's different is there are no long-term contracts. So when you're signing up for streaming service through that streaming provider, you don't sign up with Zona Wyyerds for those services, but you do sign up through whomever you're going to get your streaming service from. No long-term contract. You're not locked in for a year or 2 or anything like that. Streaming is also portable. So if you have, let's say you have a home here in Arizona, you have a summer home somewhere else, well, you can use that same service in both locations. You don't have to pay a bill here and a bill there for the same thing. You can take that with you wherever you go. And another great thing about streaming is there is a lot of free content available. As we look here, we've got Pluto, that's completely free. Weather Nation, it's similar to the Weather Channel, but they have a free app as well. Crackle and Zumo both offer a lot of free TV shows and movies. Now, people always ask which streaming device is the best. Honestly, I'm a big fan of the Roku Ultra. That's probably the one that we deal with the most, and that is a great unit. It's very robust. It's got a lot of memory in it. The memory is actually upgradable in that unit, and it's got a fast processor. So at the very least for your main TV, that's my recommendation. The Roku streaming stick is also a great piece of equipment, but better for your bedroom TV or maybe the office or the guest room. Apple TV is another great great product, very well put together. It's very robust. We recommend that one. The Fire Stick, not so much. I think most of the complaints, most of the people that we talk to who are having trouble with their streaming are using Fire Stick. So for that reason, I can't give that one a recommendation, but a lot of people that we've talked to have also had great success with it. So just kind of a little caveat for you there. And the Roku Express, kind of hit and miss. It's made by Roku, so it's certainly got a good name, but we've had people who've had some issues with those. So the Ultra from Roku, the streaming stick from Roku, and also the Apple TV, great equipment. What streaming service is the best? Now that comes down to what channels you want to watch mainly, but not just that. But as we look here, these are your typical cable channels that you would get with cable or satellite. If you go to our website, and we'll give you that address in just a moment, you can find our comparison guide and see which service carries which channels. I will tell you that YouTube TV is going to carry the most local Phoenix channels. In fact, all those channels that you see on the bottom of your screen there, those are carried on YouTube TV, but they are the only ones who carry Channel 3, Channel 8, PBS, and Fox 10 Extra, which is actually Channel 45. So it does vary from one service to the next as far as which local channels you get. But not only that, you have to look at what the recording capabilities are as well. YouTube TV, unlimited DVR recording capability. You can record as much as you want. Some of the others will limit you to maybe 50 hours. Some of them are 30 hours, which isn't very much. So we'll tell you more about that streaming comparison guide in just a bit here. Let's take a look at the services. So here we have our Roku TV. This is a smart TV with Roku built right into it. And this is what we're going to use today for our demonstration. And here are all the apps that we have installed. You know, think of these like apps on your phone. You want an app for Facebook or anything else on your phone, you just go to the App Store and download that app. It's just like that here. These are called channels as far as Roku goes. So we download the YouTube TV channel and we go in there. And the first thing that we're going to see is a home screen that's going to make suggestions based on things that we normally watch. They're kind of tracking these things. YouTube TV is a part of Google after all, so that's what they do best. So here's some things that we watch, and they say, hey, you know, maybe you want to watch the Golf Channel, The Simpsons, or perhaps you want to go and finish watching some things you already started watching. It'll suggest those as well. But in this case, we just want to go to live TV. We want to watch something that's on right now. So let's click over here to live at the top of the screen. That's how you navigate around. You just use the arrows on the remote. And let's go down to, let's just click over to Sesame Street. This is just like your DVR though. Your DVR has that grid style guide. Streaming works just the same way. So here we go. So now we're looking at, I guess that's a video within Sesame Street there. And I don't know if you can really tell through the camera here, but this is great HD quality, just like you would get on your cable or your satellite. I think better in some cases. So we backed out of that. I want to find another show to watch, so let's just scroll through here and let's look at some golf. I go to the Golf Channel, I hit OK, and there's always going to be that couple of seconds worth of buffering as it starts to download that show. And there we go, there's the Golf Channel again. Beautiful high definition quality, just a bit outside there, but but there we go. And that's how you navigate from one channel to the next. Once you're watching, when you're done, you hit the back button and you find another station that you want to watch. If we want to look at Friends, we hit OK. And again, a couple of seconds worth of buffering, and we'll see that show come up on screen, and there we go. So that's how you watch live TV. Very similar to the DVR that you're used to using, or any cable box or anything like that. You have the guide, you scroll around and you find what you want to watch. Let's go back now, and let's say we want to record something. Let's find something on here that we can record. Not SportsCenter. I want to find a better example, but well, let's just go here. We'll say Lunch Talk Live. We want to record that. So we find it in the guide. We hit OK. First thing that comes up is a little description of the show. And then if we go to more info and we hit OK, it's going to tell us more about what's going on. These are upcoming episodes of the same show. But if I go up here, add to library, it's going to start recording those shows now. There is no choice between record one or record all. It's just going to record them all until you were to remove it from the library. So all these shows that are coming up will record unless you take it out of there. Now, in a lot of cases, especially with primetime TV series type shows, not only will you get the shows that are upcoming, but it will give you a lot of on-demand programming, shows that already aired that are available in the library that you can watch right now before anything records, because they're already stored in the YouTube TV library. So that's how that works. So we'll back out of here, and the next question, obviously, is how do I watch those shows once I've recorded them? Well, that's a great question. Let's go back up. We're up here now. I'm going to come over here to where it says Library. And once I come over here, I can look at this a few different ways. They kind of break it down for you. So with YouTube TV, I have the option to look at shows that are new in my library, things that are recorded within the last few days. Most watched shows, we don't really have enough history on this account to show, but when I'm at home, the shows that I watch all the time are going to appear in here. Scheduled shows are ones that are upcoming, that are going to be recording later today, tomorrow, so on and so forth. And then we get down to shows. Shows is really just TV shows, opposed to movies. So we have Jurassic World, that's a movie, and that is kind of set apart by itself in that category. So all the movies that we record, we can find in here without having to scroll through just a ton of information. I don't really have any sports recorded, although I did record some NASCAR and the Super Bowl, for instance. These are kind of special events because they're not regular season programming, so a game that you would record during the regular season would come up under sports. So that's how we get to the shows. When you record, and with YouTube TV, the recording is unlimited. You can record as much as you want. They say that after 9 months, if you haven't watched it, it's going to go away. 9 months is a long time. Just know that you have that limitation there. But we go back to shows and we find a show here. All of this recording is happening in the cloud. Nothing's getting recorded to any of our equipment here where we are or in your home. It's all going to be happening on a server somewhere. And you would stream that recorded show just the same way you would stream a show that's airing right now. So we go into Blue Bloods. And this is what's available. Season 10 looks like the most recent season. This is the most recently aired episode. Season 9 is available as well, so we can go back. If you missed the last couple, you can go back and find them. But if you just want to watch this episode, Season 10, Episode 17, we find it on the list, and we click OK. Same thing, a few seconds worth of buffering, and there we go. There's Tom Selleck, and looks like Peter McNichol. They're having a discussion, and that's how we do it. You can fast forward. If it's a show that recorded normally, then you can skip through the commercials. If it's a video on demand version, sometimes there's multiple versions of the show that got saved. The video on demand versions will sometimes make you watch the commercials, and they're usually only a minute or two, not like broadcast TV where they're sometimes close to 5 minutes. So we want to skip through some of the show here. We want to get to another part. We skip through just hitting the forward button, and let's go right there. We hit OK. It'll stream to where we are, and there we go. So that's how that works. All right, and then we can go back out, and if you wanted to choose another show to watch that was recorded, you would come back out here and find it, and that's how that's done. So that's a look at YouTube TV. Now I want to take a look at Hulu with live TV, and if you've ever used Hulu, Hulu's been around for a very long time as a video on demand service. Their claim to fame was that shows that aired last night or the night before, you would be able to watch the next day on Hulu, and they still work the same way, by the way, but now they have this live element, so if you pay extra, you can watch live programming just like you could through YouTube TV. And again, all these services, these are separate companies. They have nothing to do with our company, but you use your internet connection to access these services. So once you set up an account with one or the other, you would get those programs through your internet connection. So here's Hulu, and anyone that has Hulu is going to see a very similar screen, with one exception. That little lightning bolt there is the live TV section, and if I go to that and I hit OK, it'll start streaming whatever the last channel was that it was tuned to, which is CBS in this case. And it looks like The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, whichever soap opera we're looking at there. But once we go down to the guide, there we go, I hit the down button, and there's the guide. YouTube TV Guide, you can put those channels in any order you like. If there's channels that you watch all the time, put them at the top. Channels that you're never going to watch, you can put them at the bottom, or you can actually uncheck them and they won't appear in the custom guide, but you can always go back to them. They have what they call a default guide. This one's just alphabetical. It doesn't matter. Local channels, CBS is under the C's, Fox is under the F's, NBC is under the N's, and any other channel that you're looking for is going to be in alphabetical order. CNN, CNN International, Cozy, etc. But still the same concept. You go to a channel, you highlight it, and this one will ask you if you want to watch it live, or if you want to record it, or if you go to show details, it'll just give you some more information about that program. Let's say we want to watch live. A few seconds worth of buffering, and there we go, we're back to the show. And it's still a great picture. This one's not really high definition because it's an older show, but anything that is newer is going to be in high def no matter what channel you're watching it on. And then to watch those recorded programs back, you would go to My Stuff. Anything that you save in Hulu, whether it's an on-demand program or whether it's something you recorded specifically, that's going to show up under My Stuff, and that's where you would find that. So pretty much the same as using YouTube TV as far as the playback is concerned. The only other thing that we would want to show you over here is Manage DVR. This is where if you have shows that are set to record, because this one does limit how much you can record. By default, it's 50 hours, which isn't very much. If you have things that you just don't want to keep recording, you can take them out and free up some of that space. So they do give you that option, and a few other things. They'll tell you programs that are expiring. We don't have any right now, but things that will be dropping off due to time constraints. So that's a look at Hulu with live TV. Let's move on. The other one that we talk about a lot is Fubo. And this is another full service streaming service, if you will. Local channels, not as many as some of the others. Fubo is only going to give you CBS, NBC, and Fox here in Phoenix. Those 3 local channels, and that's it. So something definitely worth considering. But here we go, we're looking at TBS. We've got Friends on here as well. And if we go back here, we can go up to where the guide can be found. And if I come over here, it's always going to be a grid style guide like you're used to. Here we have, and they actually just revamped this a little bit, so this looks pretty good. If we come over here, we're looking at Channel 5, Channel 10 Fox, Channel 12 NBC, and that's it for our local Phoenix channels. But the rest of the channels, they're similar. They do vary a bit from one service to another. I mentioned earlier that I was going to give out our website, and I'm going to put it here at the bottom of the screen. Just go to zonawyired.com. And then once you get to our webpage, at the top of the screen, you'll see a little area where it says streaming. Click there, and then scroll down. You'll find a link that has our streaming comparison chart, and it will not only compare which channels are available between one service and another, the price of them, and some of the other things, like I mentioned, recording capabilities do vary, and the amount of screens that you can watch at the same time. So for instance, with YouTube TV, 3 screens at a time. You're watching one screen, someone's watching one in another room, someone's watching one somewhere else. That's it. If somebody else tries to come on, a 4th person, somebody is going to get bumped. So those are the types of things you can find out by looking at our streaming guide. And that's pretty typical with all of these services, to put some type of limit on how many you can use at the same time. But other than that, same type of a situation here. You scroll through the grid guide, you choose a channel that you want to watch. And so this channel in particular, I've got 2 options. I can play, which means I can tune to that channel, or I can record that program. I want to see if there's a better example, because some of them give you more options. So let's say I go to Friends here on TBS. This is a little different now. We have play, tune to the channel. We've got record just that one episode. Because with Fubo, you're limited to 30 hours worth of recording time, which isn't much. And then once that's it, then things are going to start dropping off of there. So they do give you the option to record just one episode, or to record the entire series if you wish. And then you can get more episode information. So if there's another particular episode you're looking for, you can find it in there as well. So that's a look at Fubo, and kind of the same deal here. If we come back up to the top and go to recordings, that would be our library. This is where our shows that we recorded got stored, and there's a few of them on there as well. So That's Fubo TV. Let's now look at Philo. Philo's kind of a different animal because it's not, I would not call this one a full service streaming service. I would call this sort of an add-on, if you will. It's only $20 a month opposed to $50 or $55 like the rest of them. Does not have any local TV channels, none of the channels here from Phoenix, no sports channels, nor does it have any news channels like CNN or Fox News or anything like that. But it does have a lot of the other basic cable type channels, many of which are not included on some of the other services. So for instance, if we go in there, and this is only $20 per month, by the way. And the first thing I want to do is I want to pull up the guide because we've arranged it in such a way that you can see the channels that are offered on this service that may not be on the other. So A&E, Comedy Central is another one. Hallmark, there are 3 channels of Hallmark, Hallmark Movies, and Hallmark Mysteries, I think is the other one. The History Channel, there's Lifetime, Lifetime Movies, Paramount Network, and TV Land, and then most of the rest are duplicated on other services. But for an extra $20, you can get all those channels. A lot of people, those are must-have channels, some of those. Hallmark is a big one, and the History Channel is another. So for an extra $20, you get a big group of channels that you wouldn't get on there. And it works the same way otherwise. There's the recording capability. On this one in particular, you can record as much as you want, but you can only keep a recorded show for 30 days. So if I record something today, I've got until 30 days from now to watch it, and then it's going to drop off. But here we go. Saved shows are up here. We go into them, Cops, Modern Marvels, and a few others, and that's where they get kept. So those are the main streaming services that we talk about the most. We mentioned Netflix earlier. A lot of people are familiar with Netflix. If you can use Netflix, you can use any of the rest of these. Same with Prime Video. If you're not familiar with Netflix and Prime, those are on-demand services where you can get access to the library of shows that they have available. If you're a member of Prime, you already pay for this. It's included in your Prime membership. Netflix, I think right now, runs about $12 a month. You can pay a little bit extra and get 4K content, but generally it's going to cost you about $12 per month. So I don't want to spend too much time talking about those. This is something that's specific to Roku devices. It's called the Roku channel, and they've really added a bunch of stuff to this lately with everyone being stuck in home quarantine and all that. They're trying to keep us entertained so we don't go too crazy with the cabin fever. So here we've got some shows that are available. Some of them are just older shows, but they're fun to watch. And as we scroll through here, you can see all the, actually just watched that movie the other night. That was great, The Founder. And then there's some content that's available for premium TV, and some of the premium stuff they're even offering at a discounted or a free offer at this point. So that's the Roku channel. You can scroll through there. There's some live content that's available. There's another option to get Weather Nation. You can watch it through there, and kind of like the Weather Channel. So if you don't have the Weather Channel, that's another good way to track the weather. And that brings us to our adding channels. So we have, just like I said, on your phone, you have the App Store or the Android Play. Here we have our streaming channels store, and this is where we come to find new things. So when I first wanted to add YouTube TV to this TV, I came down here to Movies and TV, and there it is right there. We've already added it. It has the check mark there. But let's just say, for instance, we wanted to add something else. Let me find something. In fact, let's search for something. Let's go to search channels, and let's go to fishing. We just search that way, and as I type here, it should start to populate that list. So here we go. We've got the fishing channel up here. If you can think of it, you can find an app or a channel for it here. So I'm going to add the channel. Sometimes it'll say this channel may require additional fees. This one does not. So the assumption here is that everything we get through this app is going to be free, but they're pretty good about telling you if there's any additional cost associated with that. All right, we downloaded the channel. We're going to go to it. It's going to load everything up for the first time, and these are all the shows that we can get through here. So there's 20 episodes of this, and you can look at, there's fish recipes and what have you, but anything you can imagine you can find something for on Roku. But if we go back to that streaming channel store, I'm I'll show you some of the ways that they arrange this content. If you're not searching for it, these are premium things. These are all things that you're going to have to pay extra for. These are free movies and TV. So we mentioned the Roku channel having all that free content. And a lot of these other ones are standalone apps that you don't have to pay for. Pluto is a really good one because they have all kinds of niche-oriented channels and some binge channels where they just show the same show, kind of like marathon style. And there's some live news and weather available through those as well. Options to buy and rent movies. Redbox, you don't have to go out to the Redbox anymore. Redbox comes to you and what have you. So movies and TV. And there are also music channels. So if you're just a music buff and you want to listen to, maybe you have a Spotify account or Pandora or something like that. How about SiriusXM? If you have the online option through your SiriusXM subscription, you can use that on your streaming TV as well. So that's a look at most of it. The only other thing I would say about Roku, other than the fact that there is just a lot of content available for Roku because they have such huge market share. Everyone is developing apps for Roku. Some of them are amazing. They're great. Others are not so much. But, you know, that's the beauty of it. You can just add it. I don't like it. I get rid of it. That's fine. But that's how you do that. So I think that just about covers it. Certainly, if you have any questions, you can get in contact with our office. You can give us a call at 623-455-4555, and we'll be glad to answer any questions for you. And we thank you for watching today.